Why Women Deserve Less, written by Myron Gaines. This will be a summary and review of the very short 65-page read. One sentence summary. Modern women don't care to reciprocate the interest and investment you have in them, so women deserve less of your time, money, and energy. Women flake, fake interest, ignore you like you never existed, use you as a backup plan, use you for free entertainment, use social media and dating sites purely for attention and an ego boost, use you to cure boredom, treat dating apps as a game with no intention of ever taking it seriously. Just look at most girls' bios and you can see how prevalent this is. Many don't even bother writing a bio at all. They just slap a social media handle on it so you can give them even more attention on another platform. Or they jot down some completely mindless info that has no relevance to anything in life. All in all, the average girl on social media doesn't value you or your time, so limit the time, money, and energy you invest in a girl until she proves she is actually into you and not just using you. So why did I pick up this book? Well, I was perusing through the reviews on Goodreads, and I was surprised by just how many utterly childish and useless reviews there were on this book. And sadly, the one thing that they all had in common was that they were all written by women. Considering how much books have helped me grow and develop as an individual, I naively assumed that there would be a bit more maturity in these parts. 97% of the reviews had absolutely zero substance to them. They were littered with elementary school insults or name-calling. All emotion and no logic. No ability to articulate what was bad about the book. Simply, oh my god, women deserve less? I hate this book. It was like seeing a bunch of children whining because someone made fun of their favorite toy doll. Just take a look at a few of these petty and childish reviews they posted. Do us all a favor and get a life, you. This book was only published to be used as toilet paper or kitty litter. Not only is this man a real-life loser, misogynist, and all-around goofy, F this honestly. Garbage trash. We should gather up all the men that enjoyed this book, put them in a shipping container, ship them out to a very, very, very far away island, and let them all live there together, since they hate women so much. A select few acknowledged some of the great points in the book, but like most sheep, they were too brainwashed to really go against the grain, so they clenched their fist, firmly hanging on to that anti-man narrative that every other woman was parading along to. And they gave it a 1 star. As for the star ratings with no reviews, I could see that at least 92% of the 1-star ratings were all from women. Now what does that tell you? Someone's feelings were hurt. Oh no. I would never recommend taking advice from people who are incapable of explaining their own thoughts and opinions. And especially not from people that demonstrate the emotional response that you would expect from a child. Another point to note is that for women to accurately rate this book, she would not only have to be able to view it objectively, but she would also need to have a solid understanding of present-day social media. Things like Tinder, Reddit, Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, OF, Twitch, Twitter, etc. Sadly, most people never look at things objectively. On top of that, women tend to be more emotionally driven than men. This makes someone more inclined to view things subjectively. Lastly, who do you think tends to understand and be on social media more? What gender do you primarily see absolutely flooding the comment sections of countless of posts on the sites I mentioned in overwhelming majority? It's men. By a landslide. All that should tell you that very few women are going to be able to give you a useful review of this book with any actual substance. Few are objective, and even fewer are objective and understand the landscape. It was in part because of these useless reviews that I decided to pick up this book for myself and see what it had to offer, so that I can distill some of that information to you, The people actually looking to better themselves, rather than whine and spread hate because they feel butthurt. Now let's get into it. Chapter 1 briefly outlines the perspective many women in large cities who go out often and are active on social media have towards men and dating. In short, she has countless options, more than you can ever relate to or fathom as a man. And because of that, her personality, attention span, view and treatment of you, and her ability to connect meaningfully all suffer, while her expectations and ego rise tremendously.
I am a
manipulative,
narcissistic attention seeker
with delusional disorder
and an even bigger ego.
Chapter 2 details generic experiences men at different stages of their life might face when it comes to women coldly rejecting, ignoring, and leaving them. None of the examples are out of the norm, but do note that they are on the extreme side of things. And right off the bat, I can tell that this book is written in a way that is heavily leaning towards the two extremes on the pole, in that he is very much pro-men, so keep that in mind when reading. As with anything of importance, you would be a fool to treat this kind of advice as your Bible because it is on the extreme end of the pole, but his statements on modern dating are entirely true, and it's not remotely hard to see that. Chapter 3 talks about the changing landscape of dating. In the past, men provided resources and protection, while women provided sex and, if wanted, children. Now it's, I don't need a man. Men are trash. Down with the patriarchy. Believe all women. He says that this change leads to confusion among the roles both men and women play in modern society. Chapter 4. The example here is hilarious, but I'll let you discover it on your own. If you ever paid attention to how girls talk amongst themselves, you can definitely see how his tone in this book would upset them, as it is not something they are used to. It's far more common for a group of girls to pander to one another, avoid confrontation and disagreements, and in general, beat around the bush rather than speaking directly to the point. In this book, he speaks very candidly, as if he's conversing amongst men. He's direct and to the point. No sugarcoating to protect anyone's feelings. This is surely a chapter that will anger many women, but if understood from a less extreme and not as simplistic point of view as the one he presents, his overall message bears weight. There is truth to it. Overall, he has a very simplistic and heavily leaning pro-men point of view. Not wrong per se, but it's very clear that if you look solely towards men like him for such information, you are not seeing the whole picture. You would be narrowing your perspective when you should be widening it and taking in various different sources. And to be fair, he does state that this book is merely an introduction and not a deep dive into the topic. Once again, guys, please have some sense and don't treat this as your Bible. Delve into various other sources that aren't as skewed one way or the other, and develop your own perspective based on objective facts. Not how you feel things should or shouldn't be, but how they are. In chapter 5, he states that, and the ugly truth is, most women simply don't like most men that much, and they never really did. The younger you are and the more active the girls you are interested in are on social media, the more this chapter applies to you. In short, the number of choices the average woman has is incredibly large, and without a doubt, increasing. All of these options have gone straight to their head, and as a result, they have developed completely delusional and unrealistic expectations of men in dating. Tangent. Funny thing is, not long ago, I was having a conversation with a girl who was trying to find the right guy, and before she could finish her sentence about her struggles, I was able to do it for her. It's just that, then I said, it's hard to know if you found the right guy because there are so many options. And she paused and sighed, yeah. Back to the book. While there are a whole lot of truths to extract from these pages, I would be worried for the man who finds himself wholeheartedly agreeing with all of the statements in their simplistic form. Here, I was oscillating between 3 or 4 stars quite a bit during the book, but content-wise, the importance of the topic, Coupled with the fact that this kind of information is not being dispersed much in books, I could sense that it was likely getting a 4. Chapter 6 covers the lies society tells women, and it was the first bit of information that I hadn't really contemplated before, so that was interesting. I found "big is beautiful" to be the most humorous lie society tells women in order to profit off of them. But think about the kind of backlash you would get from women and men for saying that. If you look at it objectively, which is how you should, it's incredibly straightforward. Just ask yourself, biologically, do women prefer men with money or without? With. Biologically, do men prefer healthy, attractive women or unhealthy women? Healthy, attractive women. If you put your feelings aside, it isn't remotely hard to see. But if you do anything other than agree with the statement that big is beautiful, then you could be sure countless people will come after you. Imagine if guys started a broke is badass movement. You could hear the chorus of laughter now from all the women. Biologically speaking, we are talking about the exact same thing here. A woman's most sought after trait in a man, and a man's most sought after trait in women. Just notice how it's considered completely fine for women to downright disregard this essential trait men look for in a mate. But for men, having money has actually been held to an even greater importance over the past 2 decades. That's the narrative society is spreading. Everybody, except women as they are, versus men. What you're doing is never enough. Yes, hateful body shaming has no place. But women think telling girls that being unhealthy is something to be admired does? That's exactly what pandering gets you. A misrepresentation of reality. A lie to make you feel good in the moment, while in the long term, the only thing you truly do is suffer. It's just like how irresponsible people treat credit cards. Don't pay now, just pay later. Get the validation you seek now and sweep the rest under the rug so you can suffer later. Anyone who knows anything about capitalism and the US healthcare system can tell you that all they see are dollar signs by telling women messages like that. Just keep on consuming. Also, notice how you have never in your life seen "big is beautiful" or any statement like that directed towards men. What does that tell you? One gender is told to be as they are, despite the enormous negative impact on their health and the health of any potential children, while the other is heavily encouraged to go to the gym and actually improve themselves. I mean, to say heavily encouraged would be an understatement. It's more of a directive if you really want to have success with women. If you tried to avoid it, you'd get absolutely no sympathy from men nor women. Just think about how backwards and detrimental that is to humans as a whole. Society wants you to coddle the same reproducers whom you are co-creating a child with into thinking that being overweight is normal and completely healthy. I mean, after all, when it comes to women, the motto is always, just be yourself. As if a child does not pick up on a mother's genes, eating habits, destructive behaviors, and tendencies all throughout life. Things like "big is beautiful" are concepts started by women solely for women. You can clearly see that this is an area where a man is held accountable for his actions, while women are encouraged to simply exist as they are. AKA, women telling women what they want to hear. It's like when parents give their kids all the candy they want at the store, just so they don't have to deal with that child's temper tantrum. Again, please tell me where you have seen the message, "big is beautiful," being directed towards men. In the news, on magazines, social media, in advertisements? Tell me of all the instances. That message is at the very least 99% targeted towards women. Is it about body shaming? Or is it about women not wanting to be held accountable for their actions? Because if it's truly about body shaming and acceptance, that men must not experience the slightest bit of body shaming because they are never told it is beautiful, strong, masculine, or handsome. And they never have been. The narrative is only women get body shamed. That's like saying only women get bullied in school, and only women should receive support for it. It's not a matter of boo-hoo, cry men a river. Just see things for how they really are. Chapter 7 is what most men on social media really need to hear. This is by far the most fact-based and clear-cut portion of the book. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This chapter is about managing your resources more wisely. That is, your precious time, money, and energy.
Talk to the man. What you do with all your money?
You see, I'm a guy of simple taste.
Chapter 8 touches on bettering yourself. And the irony in all the negative reviews women have given this book is that the main point he is driving home is for men to invest in themselves more in order to become a better person, which in turn will make you more attractive to women. But with an inability to set emotions aside and not feel offended, that point is completely lost on them. In closing, while I did not see a single hate-filled or childish review from men bashing women, I will still say, keep on loving women as I know you do, and understand that none of these kinds of discussions in the book, my review, or elsewhere should leave you harboring any kind of resentment towards men or women. Strictly use it as a source of information to shine light on things that you might not have noticed otherwise.
Not about money. It's about sending a message. Everything burns.
Understand that this book is leaned towards being generalized and oversimplified to a degree. And please don't take the childish emotional route that the majority of people do. Actually understand things as they are and discuss that. Offering information of no substance because your feelings are hurt is a waste of your time and everyone else's. Subscribe for more and leave a comment to keep the discussion going. Take care, everyone. I wish you the best.